A very good afternoon to all my dear students. Once again, on behalf of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, I welcome each one of you for a session, which is your first session with me today, that is for a new chapter, Sale of Goods Act. And since I'm meeting you for the very first time, we'll be starting, you have already studied Indian Contract Act. So since I'm seeing you for the first time, so I want to congratulate each one of you for taking a right decision in life and choosing CA as a profession. We all know it's a profession full of dignity and respect, and three fundamental rules which are very important: that we have to stay positive and happy during this course. We have to do lots and lots of hard work, and we have to be consistent with our studies. So a very good afternoon, Tarun, Ritu, Nikitam, Soumya, Anaya, Mr. Pramod K. Thank you so much for lovely words. Mr. Abhishek, Shriya, Ayushi, Aryan, Kashish, so many of you, Mehek, Lucky, Priyanka, Ankita, Vipul, Biju, Shrikantya, Nikita again, Pooja, Nidhi. Welcome all of you children. And since you have already done Indian Contract Act, we're going to start a new chapter today. So let me just open the presentation for all of you. We'll be starting with Sale of Goods Act. I'm sure you all have revised your concepts for the previous act and starting afresh today, Sale of Goods Act. But before we start this session, let me just guide you and make it very clear to your mindset that without hard work, if you think that I'm going to achieve these two prefixes in front of my name, that is CA, it's not at all possible. Now, many of times we come and meet you and we tell you that, you have to do a lot of hard work, mehnat karni padegi, padhai karni padegi, padhna padega. So I just want to tell you one thing, that what is the meaning of visualization? So visualize means if I've imagined myself that, yes, I am going to be successful tomorrow, then come what may happen, no one can stop you from achieving that dream. So from now onwards, you have to make a promise with me that we'll be meeting. And this thing you have to say to yourself every day that, yes, I am going to be a chartered accountant soon. This spirit, this thing, success in your mind has to be imbibed that, yes, I am going to achieve it. You have to stay, जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना, healthy रहने के लिए hydrated रहना जरूरी है, ऐसे ही CA करने के लिए positive and motivated रहना बहुत जरूरी. So motivation is the key to success along with your hard work. The moment we start feeling it's tough, it's not possible, others are doing different course, why I'm doing this course, why my parents only forced me. Once you have taken a decision, we have to be there. So whether it's law, accounts, or any other of the two subjects, you have to give full fulfillment to each and every subject of your CA foundation. Since we are laying your foundation here, your base will be set and things will become very, very simpler as and when you go ahead. So success is all in your mind. If you have thought to be successful and you have given me the promise that, yes, ma'am, we are going to say each and every day that I can do it and I will do it, you can achieve anything in this world. So few tips which I want to give you, because most of you keep asking in between the sessions also, ma'am, kaise padhna hai, kaise pass hoenge? So I thought let's define the tips for CA Foundation students first, before we start with your fresh and new chapter. So number one thing is you should know your syllabus well. Each and everyone is aware now what syllabus we have. From where to study, study material is the Bible for you. For Sale of Goods Act, we'll be doing number of examples. As and when I tell you different examples, please keep making notes along with the class. Timetable, study plan, allocating the hours is very, very important. Once we have done in the class, it's your moral duty to revise it in the evening at the same day, so that the things become here and it becomes your, as I always say, it's a memory game. So if it gets fed over here, you can retain the information once you do your revision. So you always have to keep revising your content. And regarding mock test papers, only after the completion of your acts like Sale of Goods Act we have done, then we will touch the mock test papers. Once we are done with the Indian partnership, then we will go to the mock test papers. So every act we'll be finishing the syllabus first. And after that, we'll be picking up the mock test papers. Now, why this is important? Because in between, if I just go and I've done one chapter of sale of goods and I just go into the revision test papers and mock test papers, I tend to confuse myself because I haven't studied the syllabus full. So let's relax. Let's complete the syllabus first. Let's revise the content. Many a time you start feeling of descriptive questions, how to solve it. Each and everything will be discussed in the class when I'll be doing different case studies with all of you. All right, I think you have a fair idea. You have already done one act also. You know how the paper has to be designed. So without wasting much of our time, let's begin with the most interesting and one of the easiest act, I believe. Sale of goods is one of the, easiest act. All right. Definitely, that's very good, Abhishek. I'm glad to read that. And Miss Ritu Tiwari is saying, I'm a science background student, but I still want to be chartered accountant. Definitely, you will be able to achieve what you have decided to be. Aditya says, yes, we will be CA one day. That's wonderful. Thanks, Mehak. Thank you, Yash. Very nice students. So this helps us to form a connection that we can be connected through your admin portal also. So you will be raising queries as and when required, and I will also be asking questions to you so that you can answer me. So now, since you're very well aware about the syllabus and how we have to do it, how we have to prepare it, and we are already motivated and imbibed that yes, we're going to do it. So everyone has to quickly tell me what comes to your mind when you hear the word law. How do you feel about law, about the subject law? What is your feeling about the subject? Immediately, you have to answer me back. So I'm waiting for your answers. What comes to your mind when you hear the word law, whether it's Sale of Goods Act or Indian Contract Act or Partnership, whichever act. But law subject के बारे में क्या आता है मन में? Good, Shruti Pathak. Yes, Aditi, you'll get all the PPTs will be shared on the portal, so don't worry about that. Aditya Darshan says rights. Shreya says rules and regulations. What about others? They're enjoying their lunch along with the class? Not typing back? Yes? Okay, many of you say rules and regulations. Many of you say, let me find out if I can figure out the answer that I am looking for. Rules and regulations provided by government, laws, regulations. Law. Okay, Miss Lucky Kumari, you are the luckiest one. You are the one who says law is an interesting subject. This is what I want to hear from you. Sadhana says it's love and war. Judging. Apurva says judging. We have all lawyers in the class. Huh? Technical language. Aryan says it's all about public, technical language. Nikita. Rules and regulations. So majority of you, Bhumi, Shrikantya said law is a weapon. Oh my God. It's easy when you have a good practice, Aisha says. All right. Legal thing. It's justice, rules and regulations. Archie, again, interesting subject. Theoretical. Okay. Proper running, justice, benefit. After listening to law, it seems that it teaches us to live in discipline. Tarun Sinha says that. So good, quite technical terms about legal terms, about discipline. It tells us how to control the things, smooth functioning of country. Shruti Pathak says law is love. That's great. So rules to do something. So what I want to tell you is, first of all, we have to give, again, I told you the signals which we're going to give to our brain. That is what we're going to feed it. And that is how happy about the subject we have to feel. So the first and foremost subject is we have to be very happy about the subject that I'm studying. Law is a very, very interesting subject. You all are correct. It's rules and regulations. Central and state government make certain rules. Once the rules are combined, the rule book is accepted by your House of Parliaments, both the Houses of Parliaments. The law then become an act. That is how an act is created. And then we have to follow those rules and regulations related to that particular transaction. Like Sale of Goods Act specifically deals with all the transactions of your sale and purchase of goods. So that is how the law is made, running of the government, professional subject. All of you are right. But I just want to tell you that law is not at all boring. It's very, very interesting. I'm glad none of you has written it's a boring subject. So that's very good. So you all must also remember that it's a very interesting subject. Now, the tip that I wanted to give you over here is, many a time when we open our books, study material, and there are typical case studies, like you mentioned, technical language, reading between the lines, it becomes very tough. Just always try to read the case studies as short stories. So like you used to read these stories in your English books. So when you form a visualization, जैसे मैंने आपको first slide में दिखाया, visualize means imagine करना. So when you're imagining a thing in your mind, for example, Ramaya versus Chennaya, if you would have done that case law in consideration. So if imagining that was the uncle, there's the mother, and they're doing this kind of transaction, so the things become very, very simpler for you to understand. So always create, you are the one who has to create your interest in the subject. Yes, it might sound tough at times, it will sound boring at times, but you have to again stay motivated by having happy feeling about the subject, which I lovingly call that you have to fall in love with your subject, then only it becomes easy for you. Now, coming back to this formation of contract of sale, you can see these funny cartoons over here where one person is giving a box of gift to another and he is giving certain amount of money where rupee is written. So what kind of transaction is happening over here? It's a sale of goods transaction, which typically tells you that sale of goods involve exchange of money for exchange of goods. If I give you goods, I give you certain chocolates and you give me certain chocolates in return. Is it a sale of good? It is not a sale of good because barter system is not covered under the contract of sale of goods. All right. So here we will be talking at length about the transaction where the exchange of goods is happening in return of money. Now, how the Sale of Goods Act 1930 was formed. Before we proceed further, it's very important to know, children, that before 1st July 1930, if any buyer and seller had any issue regarding a sale, for example, A said to B that I will be selling you 1,000 goods on 10th of December. So 10th of December came and A did not give the goods. B felt very annoyed and he filed a case against A. Now, for all these rules and regulations where A has committed a breach of contract and B had to file a suit, which law they had to refer? They have to refer Indian Contract Act 1872. Why? Because before 1930, all the provisions related to Sale of Goods Act were included in the Indian Contract Act 1872. You must write it down, all of you. Please write it down. Before 1st July 1930, all the provisions related to Sale of Goods Act, were covered under the Indian Contract Act 1872. Now, what happened? The lawyers thought that whenever now a small buyer has filed a complaint against the seller, and because of that, we have to open the entire Indian Contract Act, which till around sections more than 200 is covered with the Contract Act provisions only. And then kahin jaakar Sale of Goods ki bari aati thi, and further it was also having Partnership Act. So it was estimated that Indian Contract Act has become very, very huge. It has Sale of Goods also, other corporate transactions also, and your Partnership Act transactions also. So in 1930, all the provisions related to sale of goods. So when I say sale of goods, it specifically relates to your buyer-seller relationship where I'm selling the goods and you are buying the goods. So all these provisions related to sale of goods were taken out from the Indian Contract Act, and a separate act, that is Sale of Goods Act 1930, was formed. So years before, we were having CPT also as CA Foundation. There we used to have MCQ questions as well. So many a time this question has come as an MCQ as well, that when was this act actually came into force? So 1st July 1930 is the date when Sale of Goods actually came into force. And if you ask me for MCQs now, right now in your examination, MCQs are not covered. You generally have direct questions. Examiner can ask you for 2 marks, write the scope of the act, how the act was formed. So you should have this basic knowledge, awareness about a particular act that you're doing. Or you get descriptive questions, a case study based questions in which you have to answer on the basis of certain provisions and your conclusions. So these provisions of acts are only applicable to the movable properties and it is not at all applicable to the immovable properties. Now, very important thing. First, we understood that yes, many of you have written, ma'am, it is a monetary consideration. Exactly. Sale of goods always involves a monetary consideration where you're giving goods in exchange of goods. It is not covered under Sale of Goods Act. Sale of goods only cover where you're giving goods in return of money. Second thing, important thing and second thing, we also learned that sale of goods was earlier a part of Indian Contract Act. 1st July 1930, a separate act was formed. Third important thing that we are learning now is that sale of goods is applicable only and only to movable properties. Now, what is the meaning of movable property? Can we say this mobile phone is a movable property? Something which can be picked from one place and can be taken to another place. This water bottle is a movable property. I can move it from one place to another place. So something which can be shifted, something which can be moved from one place to another is known as a movable property. Because people who mention that we are not from commerce background, they might be hearing such kind of words for the first time because these are typical words which are covered as a part of law. And what is immovable properties? Properties which cannot be moved, like your land, building, coal mines, forest, jungle, pura ka pura agar aap kisi ko forest area bech rahe ho, so that is an immovable property. The land which cannot be removed from one place to another, all those kind of things. The building which is attached to the land is an immovable properties. So if you talk about immovable property, if I tell you that A is planning to sell his house to B, is it covered under Contract of Sale of Goods Act? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? Tell me. Mr. Yash, we'll try to incorporate Hindi also. जैसे जैसे हो सकेगा कोशिश करके हिंदी में भी बोलेंगे. Ayushi is also requesting for the same. So we have to keep in mind, children, students are from different backgrounds. Most of the students understand English. Some of you do not understand English. I can understand that as well. So I'll try to use Hindi, English, दोनों language use करने की कोशिश करूंगी. Okay? आपको क्या नहीं समझ आया आयुषी? You can tell me. मैं आपको समझा दूंगी. अभी मैंने ये बताया कि मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी वो होती है जिसको एक जगह से दूसरी जगह पर ले जाया जा सकता है. इमूवेबल होता है जैसे कि कोई बिल्डिंग या कोई लैंड जिसको हम मूव नहीं कर सकते. So my question was, immovable property, I am selling a house to Mr. B, will it be covered under Sale of Goods Act? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? So all these yes were saying Omkar, Abhishek, Manish, Shruti, Aditya. Your answer is wrong. So the correct answer is no, ma'am. It is not covered. So Anshuka has given the correct answer. No. Aryan is also correct. Pramod, Aditi, Shweta, Aisha, Archie, all of you are correct. Omkar says it will be covered under Contract Act. No, I will tell you where it is covered. Right now, you just had to answer me. No, ma'am, it's not covered under Sale of Goods Act. Yes, Swadgiri, because it is an immovable property, therefore it is not covered under Sale of Goods Act. Shruti, Tanmeet, Rabish, Akshay Kumar, Pooja, Nidhi, Ankita, Manas, all of you are correct. K. Venkatesh Lakshmi. Akhil. Okay, Akhil, you're also correct. Manish, Aishwarya, all of you are correct. So, sale of goods only apply to movable goods. Now, what are movable goods? We have exhaustive definition of goods. What all is included in goods, we will be covering. There we will understand what kind of movable properties are covered. And those who are asking, ma'am, where are immovable properties covered? For immovable properties, we have a separate act, that is Transfer of Property Act, जो कि आपके CA फाउंडेशन सिलेबस में नहीं है. यहाँ पर हम सिर्फ सेल ऑफ गुड्स पढ़ते हैं. सेल ऑफ गुड्स में आपका मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी आती है, इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी कवर्ड नहीं. Okay. So what all topics we'll be covering in the first unit is definitions. So we'll be having basic definitions. We'll try to cover and finish off the definitions today itself. So you have different definitions about whenever an act is started, it always give you section 2 of the act generally has all the definitions. जिसमें आपको बेसिकली बताया जाता है कि इस चैप्टर में कौन कौन लोग हैं, बायर कौन है, सेलर कौन है, गुड्स क्या होते हैं, किस तरह के गुड्स होते हैं, delivery कैसे होगी, mercantile agent कौन है. So all these definitions we'll be covering, and generally all the sections have section 2 which gives you the definitions of its act, the vocabulary which is used in the act. All right, good. Rahul Ayushi, now come back to the session. Yes, I've understood. Rabish Chaudhary says, what is the meaning of monetary consideration? So, bache, monetary consideration means when you're selling the goods in exchange of money. Jahan pe money involved hai, paisa involved. So, Rabish, if I say that I purchased this pen from you. So you gave me this pen and I paid you ₹10 for this. So you are a seller who is selling these pens and I am a buyer who came to your shop. You gave me this pen and I gave you ₹10 in exchange of that. So can we say monetary consideration is involved? Yes or no? Tell me. Can we say? Others can also answer. If I've exchanged this pen, if I've purchased it and I've paid cash for it, monetary consideration is involved? Yes. All those who have written yes, ma'am, that's absolutely correct. So when we are paying in cash for something, that is a sale of goods. But at the same time, Rabish Chaudhary, if I ask you that you purchased this pen and I gave you another pen in exchange. So you gave me a pen, I also gave you another pen in exchange. Will it be a sale of goods? So your answer will be no, ma'am, because here money to involved ही नहीं थी, मैंने तो payment ही नहीं करी. So जब आप payment करते हो, that is known as monetary consideration, and that is which is covered under sale of goods. If you're just exchanging goods in exchange of goods, will it be a sale of goods? If I give you a pen and you gave me another pen in return, will it be a sale of goods? Yes or no? Answer me. Will it be covered as sale of goods where pen is exchanged for pen? Absolutely correct. No, ma'am, it will be considered as a barter system. Very good. Abhishek, Shruti, Ritu, Venkat, Lakshmi. Good. Ashwarya, Nikita, Meghna, all of you have understood clearly. Nice. And somebody was asking, ma'am, machinery is movable or non-movable? You tell me. If a machine can be taken, if you're talking about washing machine, yes, it's a movable property which can be taken from one place to another. If it is any other machinery which is fixed in the factory, which can be taken away to another place, it's a movable property. But anything which is stuck to the ground, which has been imbibed over there, which cannot be digged out of the ground, then it becomes immovable property. So when we go to the definition, I'll tell you about coal mines, your building stone quarries from where the digging of minerals happen, digging and construction of stones happen, all these kind of places are considered as immovable property. All right, good. Barter system. You all know barter system. Yes. All right, good. All of you have sent the correct answers. So definitions will be covered. Then a very important points of differences between sale and agreement to sell. इसको important mark कर लेना. इसमें से question आता ही आता है. Either it can be a case study based question or it can be a direct question of writing differences between sale and agreement to sell. It is very, very important. So the first 3 headings we'll try to cover in today's lecture, and the other 3 headings, that is sale versus other similar contracts, how a contract of sale is formed, and another very important topic about ascertainment of price. It again have different case studies and examples to be done over there. That will be covered in your session, which I have with you on Monday. All right, let's move ahead. All right, so let's begin with the first definition, that is, who is a seller? A person who sells or agrees to sell the goods. So अभी हमने एक transaction करी थी जहां पे Mr. Ravish Chaudhary ने मुझे ये pen sale करा था and I gave ₹10 to him. So that person, Mr. Ravish Chaudhary, was the seller because he is selling the pen, and I am the buyer who is purchasing the goods, who is paying for the goods, becomes the buyer. So this is the very simple, ma'am. When we go into the market, we purchase something, the shopkeeper is the seller, we are the buyer. If you go to a restaurant to have a cup of coffee, the person who is serving you, the owner over there whom you make the payment, he is the seller, and you enjoyed your coffee and you paid for it, you are the buyer. So ये तो बड़ी सिंपल बात है, ये तो हमें बचपन से पता है बायर सेलर कौन होता है. तो फिर सेल ऑफ गुड्स एक्ट हमें स्पेसिफिकली इतनी इजी डेफिनेशन क्यों लिख कर दे रहा है? कुछ तो राज होगा ना इसमें भी, कुछ तो टेक्निकल पॉइंट होगा. Why he is giving us such a different kind of definition. A person who sells or agrees to sell. क्योंकि इसमें बहुत बड़ी बात छुपी है. There's a small thing which is big thing which is hidden over here. A person who sells, so very great. You all agree that, ma'am, we go to the shopkeeper to buy certain chocolates. He's the seller, we are the buyer. समझ आता है सबको? इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? A person who agrees to sell. चलिए एग्जाम्पल देखते हैं. Today means आज, A agrees to sell 50 bales of cotton to B on 10th January 2023. न्यू ईयर में सेल करेगा. आज बात हो रही है A की B के साथ कि 50 bales of cotton for ₹1,000. I will be giving it to you on 10th of January 2023. Do I become a seller today? Law says yes. Even if you have agreed to sell, then also A becomes a seller and B becomes a buyer. Why? Because this is a transaction of agreement to sell. लिख लो इसको. This is a transaction of agreement to sell. If A would have said that, okay, I am giving you 50 bales of cotton, B A की दुकान में आया, उसने मुझे बोला कि 50 bales of cotton दो. A ने अपने बॉक्स से 50 bales of cotton निकाले, B को बेच दिए, B ने पेमेंट करी, contract of sale happens, A is the seller, B is the buyer. But here A is not selling today. He's only saying, I agree to sell this to you at a future date. So law says even where you have agreed to sell, it is the case of agreement to sell. So then also you become a seller today and B becomes a buyer. Now tomorrow on 10th of January, if you do not deliver me the goods, I can drag you to the court because as per Sale of Goods Act, you became the seller today itself. On the day that you have made their agreement with me, it was an agreement to sell. You are the seller and I am the buyer. What happens in the future when he does not deliver the goods, why the court case is filed, that is all covered under your unpaid seller वाला chapter, वो हम लास्ट में सीखेंगे. अभी तो सिर्फ हम ये समझ रहे हैं कि क्यों डेफिनेशन दी उसने, बायर सेलर क्यों जरूरी था बताने के लिए, क्योंकि कल को अगर आपने केस फाइल करना है तो आप तभी फाइल करोगे ना अगर वो रियल में सेलर था. अब अगर उसने आपको प्रॉमिस करा डिलीवर करने के लिए गुड्स and you are the seller, A is the seller, B is the buyer, can B's neighbor go and file a case against A? Law says this is not done. You are the buyer, you are only allowed. So that's why it is important to make clear that who is a seller and who is a buyer. So the person who is selling or he is agreeing to sell, he becomes the seller. Maybe tomorrow I as a buyer can also make a default. Say for example, Harleen ma'am is a person who buys or agrees to buy the goods, is a buyer. So I agreed, I was Mr. B, I have agreed with A that I will buy these 50 bales of cotton. So tomorrow on 10th of January 2023, if A sent the goods and I am not accepting it, then also agreement to sale wala case applicable ho jayega because I was declared buyer when I agreed to buy the goods. Clear ho gayi sabko definition? Everyone is clear about this? अब ये इस प्लेजी मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी मिस निकिता अभी रुक जाओ, प्लेज में जाएंगे हम. Yes, Yash, it will be covered in 2 days, not to worry at all. Okay, so I hope everyone is clear. Installation of machinery is a movable property. Yes, it depends. I told you we have already spoken about machinery. If it can be dragged away, it can be taken away. It's a movable property. If it is stuck to the ground, it has been installed over there, then it becomes immovable. All right, good. Meghna Chauhan, if you talk about the services are never covered under sale of goods. Sale of goods always talk about your goods. Thank you so much. Mr. Pramod says that the joy on your face while explaining the topic motivates us a lot. Thank you so much. This is what I want you to stay motivated. That's why I told you in the beginning. All right. Someone offers, Shriya Modi, what do you say? Someone offers, you're trying to say something or ask something. Yes, buyer and seller terms are absolutely complementary, Mr. Abhishek. So why do we say that complementary? Because only when the seller is there, then only a buyer can be there. So both the parties complement each other. Sale of goods transaction can only always happen between two parties. कैन यू सेल द गुड्स टू योर ओन सेल्फ? मैं घर बैठी हूँ और मैंने बोला यार मेरा मन कर रहा है ये बॉटल खरीद लो, तो क्या मैं खुद को ये बॉटल बेच सकती हूँ? The answer is no, it's not possible. I need to find a buyer. I will send a query to all of you who wants to purchase this water bottle. I'll quote a price. I can even do an auction sale. Auction sale is also covered under Sale of Goods Act. So very important, buyer and seller complement each other. They have to have two parties. That's why they give you the definition about buyer and seller both. All right, clear ho gaya? Very nice. Yes, Rachit Saxena, if you have a doubt, you can send it. Rahul Patel says it's crystal clear. Very nice. All right, let's proceed ahead now. Simple था ये तो, बस इसमें एक एग्रीमेंट टू सेल का ही पॉइंट हिडन था, वो भी आपको पता लग गया. Now comes the very, very interesting and important definition of goods. Again, we will be talking, we have already spoken about movable goods. So you have a fair idea about what is a movable goods, but let us understand it in detail. Now, when it says goods, the first thing that we have learned about it is movable goods. Only the tangible goods are covered under Sale of Goods Act. Immovable goods are not part of Sale of Goods Act. आपने ये भी सीख लिया कि if I tell you that I am selling you the house A is selling the house to B and he's charging money, so house property is covered as immovable property. It is not part of Sale of Goods Act. Things attached to or forming part of land which can be severed from the land is considered as goods. So any crops, trees, grass which can be extracted. Now, say for example, I am a gardener who has planted lots of crops and I have a vegetable garden. I have planted a lot of crops in my garden. So one of you, Mohammed Khan, Mr. Mohammed Khan comes to Mohammed Khan. आपका वो भी देख लेंगे अभी question कहाँ पर है. You can send it again. If it was not visible, you can send it again. So Mr. Mohammed Khan comes to my garden and he asked me, ma'am, can you sell these crops to me? So I said, okay, I'll ask somebody to just pluck off all these crops and grass and other things also he wanted. And I sold it to Mr. Mohammed Khan. Now, have I done sale of goods? Yes or no? So many a times a judgment was passed. It was seen that, crops, you taught us, ma'am, land is not considered as a part of Sale of Goods Act. But here I'm talking about crops which are attached to the land but can be severed, means it can be separated. I can remove them. I can pluck the crops and I can sell it to Mr. Mohammed Khan. So I made all the effort. I plucked the crops and I packed them. All the identification, packing, polishing was done and it was delivered to Mr. Mohammed Khan. And he paid money for that. So can you call it a complete contract of Sale of Goods Act? The answer is yes, it is a contract of Sale of Goods Act. Why? Because crops are considered as movable property which can be taken from one place to another and they could be severed from the land. All right. तो ये छोटी छोटी बातें जो हम क्लास में डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, एग्जांपल्स है, ये लिख लिया करो साथ में. 2 hours of full concentration. You are with me. You are writing it down. You are understanding and you revise your task. I can assure you, I can guarantee you, you'll pass your exam. Okay. Okay. Ritu Kumari is saying, I want to buy that bottle. I'll quote you a price soon. All right. So let's move ahead, including stocks and shares also. So stocks and shares are another thing. If you're trading on stock exchange, the shares that you're selling, the stock that you're selling is also considered as part of Sale of Goods Act. Sale of coal mines. Now, what are coal mines? Where the minerals are extracted from mineral ores. छोटे होते साइंस में हमने सबने माइंस के बारे में पढ़ा हुआ है, मिनरल ओर्स के बारे में पढ़ा हुआ है. तो जो ऐसी साइट्स होती हैं, बिल्डिंग स्टोन क्वेरी is a construction site where stones are extracted and carving of stones is done. Now, law says all these things which are forming part of land which cannot be segregated from the land, it is not covered under the Sale of Goods Act. Simple logic, because they are immovable properties. All right. Now, 2 things, in fact, 3 things are not part of goods. Actionable claim, money, and what is the third thing जो हमने अभी सीखी? Immovable property is not part of goods. So I'm writing IP for immovable property. That is also not part of goods. Actionable claims and money. Now, what is actionable claims? Say, for example, my friend borrowed a loan of rupees 10,000 from me. And he said, ma'am, I will pay you back the loan on 5th of January. So I said, okay, you take 10,000 loan from me and you better repay the loan on 5th of January 2023. Now let's see the pledge case also. Many of you were asking, ma'am, what is pledge? तो pledge का हिंदी में मतलब होता है कुछ गिरवी रखवाना. अब मेरे से उसने 10,000 रुपीज लिए हैं, तो मुझे मन में आया यार कल को भाग ही ना जाए, कहीं पैसे ना दे, तो ना मेरे पास आप कुछ अपना प्लेज रखवा दो, कोई सिक्योरिटी दे दो. सो प्लेज बेसिकली मीन्स गिविंग सम सिक्योरिटी. लोन विच इज बोरोड, borrowing money by lending some security. In layman's language, I am सिर्फ समझाने के लिए आपको यूज कर रही हूँ एग्जाम्पल. ठीक है, मैंने कुछ आपको सिक्योरिटी, तो उसने बोला कि मेरी ये क्या सिक्योरिटी रखवाएं. अच्छा चलो, घड़ी है, अच्छी सी घड़ी है, तो आई हैव फास्ट ट्रैक वॉच, यू कैन कीप इट एज अ सिक्योरिटी एंड गिव मी अ लोन ऑफ रुपीज 10,000. लोन भी तो छोटा ही है ना, 10,000 का ही है. तो आई केप्ट द वॉच. Now, what will happen on 5th of January 2023 if this friend of mine, Mr. A, does not return my money? What can I do? I have two options. I will sell his watch and claim my money. तभी सिक्योरिटी रखवाई थी ना, ऐसा ही होता है ना एक्चुअली. When we go to the bank and bank asks us that I will give you a loan and you pledge certain gold with me. So if you do not repay the loan which you have taken from the bank, bank will not be in a problem. He will simply go and sell your gold in the market and he will recover your money. But as a pledgee, it's your duty that you should pay back the things that you have taken. When once your loan has been repaid, the bank has to give back the security of gold which he has taken it from you. Similarly, in this example of my friend also, I borrowed the money and he lent some security to me. Now, if he does not return my money, I will sell off his watch and I will claim my money. This is the meaning of case of a kind of a transaction of pledge. This is what happens in pledge, where you borrow the money on exchange of security. And if your money is not repaid, the loan is not repaid, your security is sold off. Let's assume in our example that we did not, in this actionable claims, it is an unsecured debt. So here in this example, which he is going to return my money, he has not given me any security. So A has lent money to his friend B, 1,000 rupees, and to return it on 5th Jan 23. Now A has lent the money, so B did not return the money. What can A do? B did not return the money on 5th Jan. So A files an action against B. इतने भी अच्छे दोस्त नहीं थे, उन्होंने बोला कि यार तूने मेरा पैसा लिया था और तूने प्रॉमिस करा था कि तू मेरा पैसा वापस करेगा, अब तूने मेरा पैसा वापस नहीं करा, I will file a suit against you. You all understand what is filing a suit? Filing a case. He can take an action against you. So he filed an action against you. Now law says all these, now this was an unsecured debt. जहां पे सिक्योर्ड वाला था मैंने आपको पहले समझा दिया, सिक्योरिटी वाला प्लेज वाला केस होता है जहां पे आप सिक्योरिटी देते हो. अनसिक्योर्ड डेट मींस द डेट व्हिच इज गिवन विदाउट हैविंग एनी एक्सचेंज ऑफ सिक्योरिटी. So here A has not taken any security. He has just given 1,000 rupees, which was to be returned on 5th of January. Now B has not returned my money. What will I do? I will just file a case against him. I'll drag him to the court and I will claim the money. Now law says all these unsecured debt, jahan pe security involved nahi hai, whatever action you have taken to recover your claim, these kind of transactions are not covered under सेल ऑफ गुड्स एक्ट. तो ये सारी कहानी सुनाने का मतलब था आपको मीनिंग बताना. दिस इज कॉल्ड actionable claims, means the claims against which action can be taken. So you can write down actionable claims means when you recover your claim money, you claim your money by filing an action against another person. It is a kind of unsecured debt This is not covered under Sale of Goods Act. तो वो कहते हैं ये गुड्स की डेफिनेशन में नहीं आता. बस आपने इतना याद रखना है कि एक्शनेबल क्लेम्स एंड मनी कवर्ड नहीं है. एक्शनेबल क्लेम्स क्या होता है वो आपको मैंने अभी स्टोरी में समझा दिया कि जब आप किसी के अगेंस्ट एक्शन लेते हो, सो ऑल दिस मनी विच विल बी इन्वॉल्व इन फाइलिंग एन एक्शन, इफ यू क्लेम द गुड्स बैक, सो दैट विल नॉट कंसिडर्ड एज गुड्स विच आर पार्ट ऑफ द एक्शनेबल क्लेम्स. So any unsecured debt is not a good. And what is the meaning of money? Can I sell you 2,000 rupee note? I called up Ritu and I said, will you purchase 2,000 rupee note? You give me 50 rupees, I'll give you 2,000 rupee note. Can we do that? Can we circulate the money? Law says this is money is not goods. Money is the monetary consideration which you pay for goods. आप money को नहीं बेच सकते हो, पैसा थोड़ी ना बेच सकते हो आप. You're not RBI. RBI is also not selling the money. It is just giving you, it is rotating the money. So money is not considered as goods and actionable claims is also not goods. And third thing we learned that immovable property is not goods. So basically मैम goods होता क्या है? ये सारी picture जो मैंने आपके सामने दिखाई है, आपका ये Duracell, Tide, Pampers, Olay, toothpaste, toothbrush, soaps, everything, whatever you use in day-to-day lives, whatever things can be moved from one place to another, all these are considered as goods. तो आप राशन की दुकान पे जाते हो, कन्फेक्शनरी शॉप जाते हो, आराम से चीजें परचेज करते हो, सुपरमार्केट में सारी चीजें उठाकर घर लेकर आते हो. तो नेक्स्ट टाइम व्हेन यू गो फॉर दिस शॉपिंग, रिमेंबर व्हाटएवर यू आर डूइंग द ट्रांजैक्शंस फॉर ऑल these are known as goods, and you are actually doing the sale of goods. You are the buyer at that time, and the person who is sitting at the counter is the seller. Clear हो गया goods की definition? Okay. Let's move ahead now. What are the types of goods? Just give me a second. We'll be doing and covering the content from the study material also. Okay. Now, what are the type of goods? First, we have to see the three broad categories of goods. It's existing goods, future goods, and I will be coming back to the query session in a while. Many of you are writing. Yes, Mr. Bharat Chaudhary, then that stone mines will not be covered as a part of goods because it is an immovable property. Somebody is asking how to learn the sections. Sections are not important as far as CA foundation is concerned. If you can learn the sections, well and good. If you cannot learn the sections, children, never write a wrong section. Okay, all right, everybody has understood. I hope the slides are clear now. Aditya is saying if we ask for the change of money, obviously then also it is not a sale of goods. You gave 200, he gave you two different 100 notes. That is not sale of goods. That is just exchange of money. FDRs is also good. Very good point, Tanmeet Kaur. Fixed deposit receipts are also considered as goods. Yes, they are part of goods. Finished producted good. Yes, people, that is good. That is also correct. Say land, it not include, but what we're forming in land. So Mr. Pramod K, any land which you are selling, it is not considered as goods. Mohammed Khan, slides upload हो जाएंगी. Whatever presentation you are seeing here, ये सारी की सारी presentation आपकी portal पे as it is upload हो जाएगी. आप download कर go through कर सकते हो. All right, let's move ahead. Thank you so much, Miss Ankita Singh. Glad to read that. Okay, now let's understand there are three broad category of goods. Number one, existing goods. Number two, future goods. And number three, contingent goods. The existing goods are further divided into specific, ascertained, and unascertained. Now, please pay full attention because many a times after doing this topic, you ask me, ma'am, are the future goods uncertain goods? So listen carefully right now. I have told you there are three broad category of goods. Existing goods. Number two is your future goods. And number three is your contingent goods. Existing goods is further divided into three categories. Future and contingent goods की कोई categories नहीं है, वो अपने आप में एक different category of goods है. Existing goods means the goods which are in existence in real are further divided into specific, ascertained and unascertained goods. So now, what is a specific good? Now, this is one of my favorite slides. And even if you are falling asleep, chocolates are one thing which generally make you awaken. So pay full attention. So it says the goods which are identified and agreed upon at the time of contract of sale is made. Such a good is known as a specific good. Now, ma'am, so many things you have said. What does it mean? स्पेसिफिक के लिए आइडेंटिफाइड भी है, एग्रीड भी है, सेल हो गया, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो गया, समझ नहीं आया. सो लेट अस ब्रेक इट इनटू वर्ड्स. नंबर वन, द गुड्स विच आर आइडेंटिफाइड मींस जो कि हमें दिख रहे हैं. लेट्स अज्यूम वन ऑफ यू, लेट मी टेक योर नेम, आयुषी बोथरा. Okay, Miss Ayushi, you went to the shopkeeper to purchase a chocolate and you're really fond of Dairy Milk chocolate. Now you said that I want to buy Dairy Milk Oreo peanut flavor Cadbury chocolate only. So shopkeeper said, ma'am, we have a lot of Dairy Milk chocolates. You can pick up one. You said, no, I only want Dairy Milk Oreo peanut butter flavor chocolate only. So children, do you understand how specific Ayushi is trying to be, that she's telling you that I only want, now 100 of Dairy Milk chocolates are available in market. You people must be eating more chocolates than me. So आपको तो बहुत अच्छे से पता होगा कि बहुत सारी चॉकलेट्स आती हैं, डिफरेंट फ्लेवर्स में भी आती हैं, अमूल की भी आती है, डार्क चॉकलेट्स अलग आती हैं, आपकी पर्क आती है, मंच आती है. तो शॉपकीपर उसे बोलते हैं भी आप कोई भी और ले लो चॉकलेट. वो कहती है नहीं, मुझे तो सिर्फ डेयरी मिल्क ही चाहिए और उसमें भी ओरियो वाली एंड पीनट बटर फ्लेवर ही चाहिए. So law says, if you are trying to be so much specific about the goods and your customer is really looking for those kind of goods only, this is actually known as a specific good. So you have identified there is a shelf where the chocolates are lying. There are hundreds of Dairy Milk chocolate lying, and she identifies that this is the one chocolate which is lying in that shelf, which has the Oreo flavor and the peanut butter flavor also. And they agree that, okay, fine, I am going to sell you this particular product only, which has also come new in the market. So that is a contract of sale is made. So that is when we call the sale of a specific good, जिसके लिए हमने पूरी specification बता दी. Say for example, you went to the shopkeeper and you said, I want to buy a mobile phone. Like now this has a black metallic body, but a girl said, I want a pink metallic body phone only. The shopkeeper says it's such a long, nice inches phone. It has a good camera, good, what do you call that? Pixels and everything is very nice. Selfie mode camera is good. The Insta works really well. You can buy this. Why don't you buy this? But the girl said, no, I only want to buy the phone which has pink metallic body. So now the shopkeeper says that, okay, fine, some certain products are already there in the factory and they'll be coming back after 10 days. So why don't you come after 10 days and buy that pink metallic body goods only? In such a case, can we call the goods were existing goods? Were the goods existing in the shop? The answer is no, ma'am, they were not existing. But after 10 days, he will get it from his factory, and then this girl will again come to the shop and she will buy that product. So what kind of sale of goods is that? What category of goods is that? Law says where you have agreed to sell at a future date and you're not having the goods in existence today. So that is known as the sale of future goods. So ये important बात लिख लो पहले. For existing goods, the goods are already in existence with the seller, and we always make a contract of sale. For existing goods, goods are already with the seller, and we always make a contract of sale. However, when we decide to sell when we agree to sell the goods at a future date, they are the future goods they are the future goods, and it is always considered to be an agreement to sell. Future goods and contingent goods always fall under agreement to sell, क्योंकि मेरे पास तो goods है ही नहीं अभी, तो जब मैंने फ्यूचर डेट पे सेल करना है तो उसको तो हम वैसे ही एग्रीमेंट टू सेल कहते हैं. तो फ्यूचर गुड्स एंड कंटिंजेंट गुड्स बोथ ऑफ देम फॉल अंडर द कैटेगरी ऑफ एग्रीमेंट टू सेल. अब वापस आ जाते हैं इस पे चॉकलेट पे. सो वो बोलते हैं गुड्स अगर आपके आइडेंटिफाइड हैं एंड एग्रीड हैं एट द टाइम ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ सेल, सो यू हैव आइडेंटिफाइड देम, यू हैव एग्रीड दैट आई ओनली वांट द स्पेसिफिक चॉकलेट, इट इज ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल इन द शॉप एज वेल, देन इट इज नोन एज स्पेसिफिक गुड. क्लियर हो गया? लेट्स मूव अहेड. Ascertain and unascertain goods. Now, what is this picture trying to tell you over here? Can you say so much of messed up things? कहीं पे वो आपके स्क्रू ड्राइवर्स हैं, कहीं पे पेचकस है, कहीं पे कुछ टूल्स पड़े हैं, कहीं पे कहीं एसेसरी पड़ी है. In huge lots, the goods are lying. So to understand ascertain goods, it's very important to first understand the definition of unascertain goods. Law says goods which cannot be specifically identified at the time of making the agreement are known as unascertain goods. The goods which are lying in huge lots, the goods which are lying in huge bulk. Now, when you came to buy that Dairy Milk Cadbury chocolate, there were hundreds of Cadbury Dairy Milk chocolate. अगेन द सेम फ्लेवर, ओरियो पीनट बटर फ्लेवर, जो आपको चाहिए था. आप बोल रहे थे मैम वो स्पेसिफिक गुड चाहिए, मेरे पास वो एक नहीं था, मेरे पास वो 100 थी. अब आपने एक परचेज करना है एंड मेरे पास 100 ऑफ दोस चॉकलेट्स आर लाइंग. द होल लॉट व्हिच इज लाइंग विद मी इज नोन एज अनसर्टेन गुड्स, जिनको अभी आइडेंटिफाइड नहीं किया गया. अभी मुझे बताना है आपको. आई विल जस्ट टेक आउट वन पीस आउट ऑफ दैट लॉट एंड आई विल गिव इट टू यू एंड आई विल से नाउ दिस इज अ specifically identified good, then we make a contract of sale. But law says all these goods which are lying in boxes, we have not yet identified which good is to be sold. Till the time they are lying in huge bags or bulk or lot, it is known as unascertain goods, goods which are not specifically identified when the contract is made. And once you pick up that chocolate and you identify it according to the contract of sale, it becomes your ascertain good. So ascertain goods की कोई definition नहीं है. It is nowhere defined. It simply says out of the whole lot of unascertain goods, I pick up one good and I have ascertained it. I have identified it. तो फिर से एक नोट लिख लो. Specific goods are the goods. Specific goods are the goods. Specific goods are the goods which are identified and agreed at the time contract of sale is made. Specific goods are the goods which are identified and agreed at the time when the contract of sale is made. However, ascertain goods are the goods which are identified and agreed after the contract of sale is made. Ascertain goods are the goods which are identified and agreed after the contract of sale is made. Now, what does this mean? You came to my shop and you purchased that specific chocolate which you wanted. That is a specific good case. But second example, I told you 100 of those chocolates are lying and I told you that I will take out one and you can come little later and you can take that good. So when those 100 chocolates were lying together, it is known as unascertain goods. You picked up one, you identified which one the customer wants. You have done the ascertainment of goods, means you have identified which good has to be purchased. That is known as ascertain goods. All right. So I think let's take a small break over here and then we will cover the examples from the presentation itself, and also we will read the same content from the study material. Let's take a small break here. All right, welcome back, students. So let's start again. We're from where we have left. Okay, Rachit Saxena, no worries in that. Then Meet is asking a certain are identified from uncertain goods. That is absolutely correct. That's nice, Pramod. A certain and uncertain, yes, Ayushi Jain, don't worry. We will do it once again from the study material itself. Okay, now let's have a look at the study material also, because I don't want you to leave a single line of study material. So those who are asking, ma'am, what all we should study, kahan se padhna hai? So presentations that teachers are sharing with you, and second is your study material. These two things are sufficiently enough for your CA foundation. अगर ये दोनों चीजें आप ध्यान से पढ़ रहे हो, साथ साथ notes बना रहे हो, everything is being covered. So these are the kind of flowcharts which you should make in your notebooks also, just to have a briefing about and understanding about the chapters. All right. These are the definitions. Buyer and seller we have already covered. Goods का सिर्फ एक चीज बतानी थी यहाँ से, जो कि हमने डिस्कस भी कर ली थी. Even the FDRs जो आपकी fixed deposit receipts होती है, जो आप बैंक के साथ खुलवाते हो, they are also considered as part of goods. So if someone asks you whether FDRs are goods, so if FDRs are being sold to another person also, like it will be considered as a part of goods under Sale of Goods Act. You can refer to your section 176 of the Indian Contract Act along with this Sale of Goods Act section. And all this stock, shares, gas, steam, electricity, and decree of court. This is also considered as goods. Decree of court, children, basically means where you have taken any order from the court for a particular prize money. So when we go to unpaid seller chapter, I will explain this point of decree of court. You can mark it. This is related to your unpaid seller chapter. There we will be understanding what is the exact meaning of this terminology. Now, goods, we have already understood there are three categories of goods. Any doubt in specific goods? I hope specific goods are absolutely clear. I have a very interesting live example to share with all of you. Can you see this coffee jar in my hand? It reads Davidoff Rich Aroma Instant Coffee. So suppose one of you, let's take the name of Ayushi Jain. Ayushi Jain goes to the market and she tells the shopkeeper, I want this Davidoff Rich Aroma Masterpiece of Coffee flavor. Now, if you go to the market, children, there are 10 to 12 brands of coffees, different brands of 10 to 12, 50 होंगे different brands of coffee. But Davidoff के अपने भी 10 से 12 अलग तरह के flavors आते हैं. So she has requested for this one flavor of rich aroma. So you might have the cappuccino flavor, latte flavor, or creamy flavor, rich froth flavor, whatever it is. So specific good means she has specifically shown you this rich aroma flavor only I want. This is a kind of existing specific good, which is completely clearly identified कि मुझे तो जी यही चाहिए. All right. So this is another example apart from chocolates. We have discussed about coffee also. Another example that the study material talks about is Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. तो मैंने आपको clearly बता दिया मुझे S7 Edge वाला ही चाहिए, या फिर Whirlpool washing machine of 7 kg only. So I'm being very specific. I don't want 10 kg, I don't want 3 kg, I don't want 6 kg. I only want Whirlpool brand. एक तो मुझे चाहिए, washing machine चाहिए और 7 kg चाहिए. So this is the kind of specifications which is given for identification of specific goods. Let us now read about ascertain goods. Generally, students को मुश्किल जो आती है वो ascertain and unascertain में ही आती है, but within another 2 minutes, that doubt will also be over. So it says ascertains are the goods which are identified after the contract of sale is made. मैंने अभी आपको लिखवाया था. Specific goods are the goods which are identified at the time of sale. Ascertained are identified after the sale is made. So after you have decided that I want that one piece of chocolate, out of the 100 lot, I picked up one, that is known as ascertained. So there is no specific definition of this ascertained goods, but it is judicially interpreted. का मतलब होता है जैसे जैसे केसेस आते हैं, जैसे जैसे एडवाइजरी आती है इसके ऊपर, उसके बेस पे हम इसकी डेफिनेशन बनाते हैं. So children, again, judicially interpreted is your legal term that you were mentioning, that law में बड़ी legal terms use होती हैं. So now you all are future chartered accountants, you will be CA soon. So people will be coming and referring the cases to you also. That हमने जी ऐसे हम seller है, हमने ये सामान बेचा है, इस पे sale of goods applicable है या नहीं है. तो इस तरह के केसेस आपके ऊपर आपके पास आया करेंगे. कई लोग पूछते हैं ना मैम लॉ अप्लाई कहाँ होना है, हम इसको यूज कैसे करेंगे प्रैक्टिकल नॉलेज में. तो इस तरह से ये प्रैक्टिकल नॉलेज में जुडिशियल इंटरप्रिटेशन में यूज होता है. So it says in practical terms, a certain goods is same as specific goods, where from a lot or large quantity, the number is identified, it is known as a certain goods. मैंने आपको बोला मुझे 100 bags of sugars में से 1 bag of sugar चाहिए. आपके पास thousands of bags of sugar पड़े यार, मैंने बोला मुझे 1 bag of sugar चाहिए. तो वो जो thousands of bags of sugar आपके गोदाम में पड़े हैं, वो सारे के सारे कौन से goods हैं? Ascertained है, unascertained है, existing है, क्या है? Good. Madhu Gonda, Satvik. I have read your message. Nice. Yes, Manas, we are discussing about a certain and uncertain only. So I hope the question is clear to all of you. I'm asking, I want 1 bag of sugar and the shopkeeper is having thousands of the bag of sugar lying in the godown. Those thousands bags of sugar are what category of goods? You have to answer me. I have shown you the coffee also, so stay awake now. This was just to waken you up. Very good. Most of you have answered the correct answer. Swadgiri, Aditya, Priyanka, Ritu, Lucky, Purva, Kashish, Shweta, Tanmeet, Manas. That is absolutely correct. They are unascertain goods. Purva Joshi, you are wrong. It is not ascertain. It is unascertain goods. Means हमें नहीं पता कि कौन सा 1 bag of sugar हमने buyer को देना है. अब जब seller, the shopkeeper, he will take out 1 bag of sugar. He will do the identification, packing, polishing. Everything is done. Then that 1 bag of sugar will become ascertain goods. Out of the lot, out of the large quantity, when the quantity which you have contracted is identified, it is known as ascertain goods. Very good. Clear हो गया सबको? यशराज, सृष्टि, अनन्या, मधुगौना, प्रमोद, सबने ठीक आंसर दिया. गुड. वेंकट लक्ष्मी, everybody is right. No worry मोहम्मद खान, वो कंफ्यूजन रहता ही है जब हम फर्स्ट टाइम पढ़ रहे होते हैं ना इस वर्ड्स को. तो अभी आपका ये वाले एग्जांपल से और भी क्लियर हो जाएगा. आपने सिंपल हिंदी लैंग्वेज में जो पूछ रहे हैं मैम क्या याद रखना है, जिस सारा सामान इकट्ठा पड़ा है उसको अनसर्टेन गुड्स बोलते हैं. जब जो सामान बायर ने खरीदना है उसमें से वो हमने अलग कर दिया, पैक कर दिया, तो वो वाला सामान जो हमने पैक कर दिया है वो असर्टेन गुड बन जाएगा. मतलब हमने आइडेंटिफाइड गुड बन जाएगा वो हमारा. समझ आ गया? गुड, नाइस. So let's read this example. A wholesaler has 100 bales in the godown. He agrees to sell 50 bales and these bales were selected and set aside. Now 100 bales of cotton, लिख लो इस example में, 100 bales of cotton are unascertain goods. क्योंकि वो इकट्ठे पड़े हैं सबके सब. And when I have identified these 50 bales of cottons, once they are identified, they become ascertain goods. On selection, they become ascertain goods. Before the ascertainment, the contract was for the sale of unascertain goods. Means 100 bags if they were lying like that only. Then these are unascertain goods. So what is the definition of unascertain goods? Goods which are not specifically identified at the time of making the contract. They are only indicated by showing the sample. So I showed you the sample. Do you have this kind of coffee? If this coffee is available, it is specific good. If it is not available, it is available in huge quantity, then it is unascertain good. Out of that huge quantity, you picked up one and you have identified, that is ascertain goods. Let us read example number 4. A agrees to sell 1 packet of salt out of the lot of 100 packets lying. It is a sale of unascertain goods because it is not known which packets to be delivered. So till the time we have not identified out of 100 packets कौन सा एक पैकेट बेचना है, वो सारा का सारा जो lot है, it is unascertain goods. X has 10 horses and he promises to sell one of them, but does not specify which horse he will sell. This is the contract of unascertain goods. Now my question to you is in example number 5, ध्यान से सुनना. X has 10 horses. He promises to sell one of them but does not specify It is a contract for the sale of uncertain goods. He later identified, ये लिखोगे आप. He later identified and took out horse number 2 for the sale. Now, what category of good it comes? He has identified horse number 2 and he has informed the buyer that your horse it is now ready to sell. So what kind of goods it has become when he has identified the goods? You have understood the 10 horses, they were unascertained goods, and now we have identified this horse number 2. What category of good does it become? Answer me. This horse number 2, which I have identified, what category of good it becomes? Very good. Excellent. Around 100 answers for a certain goods. I'm not going to take the names now. That is absolutely correct, children. So now you have clearly understood what is a certain and uncertain goods. Now let's move to the second category of goods, that is future goods. Future goods are always used for the case of, I told you it is always for the case of agreement to sell. जहाँ पे sale नहीं हो रही है, जहाँ पे सिर्फ agreement to sell हो रहा है. So you came to my shop and I'm a shopkeeper who is selling different varieties of shawls and shrugs. So in North India, it is covered with cold these days. We are having December, it's a month of winters. So there's a shopkeeper who is selling shawls. So you went to the shopkeeper and you specifically said that I want a red color shawl. The shopkeeper said, we have manufactured different black, yellow and white color shawls, but the red shawl is still in my godown. We'll ask the manufacturer once he has finished the production, you can come and purchase it. So they don't have the shawl readily available in the shop, but it's in the production house. They're producing. So now the shopkeeper A agrees to sell this red color shawl to B after 10 days. What is it called? Sale or agreement to sell? What will you call it? Mr. Ashish Prajapat, I'm using Hindi, English, both the languages. बच्चा हम पूरी हिंदी में नहीं पढ़ा सकते हैं. हमें South students को भी consider करना होता है, which they do not understand Hindi clearly. So we have to use mixed language. And all of you are correct. Kashish, Purva, Lucky, Aditya, Tanmeer, Gufran, Mohammed. Yes, it's an agreement to sell. And category of goods भी बता देते हैं बच्चा मुझे. ये red shawl कौन सी category of goods है? आपने ठीक आंसर दिया मैम. A agrees to sell B after 10 days. It's an agreement to sell. And it is this red shawl will be which category of goods? Absolutely correct. It's future goods because they are not readily available right now. They will be coming to the shopkeeper. Abhishek Vishwakarma, agreement to sell of future goods. Very good. That's absolutely correct. Priya Darshini saying a certain goods. Why, bacha? Goods hai hi nahi abhi. Goods which are yet to be manufactured or produced by the seller. Abhi aaye hi nahi hai mere paas. Then it is absolutely known as future goods. A certain specific तो बच्चे तब ना जब goods existing है. अभी तो existing है ही नहीं. मैंने कहा मेरे पास है ही नहीं है. Which are to be manufactured means अभी manufacture होने हैं. So after making the contract, the goods which are to come with the shopkeeper, they are future goods. They are not in existence right now. लिख लो. Future goods are those which are not in existence in present. Future goods are those which are not in existence in present. Ashutosh, Shruti, Gufran, all of you are correct, ma'am. The red shawl is future goods. Yes. Ritu Kumari, Isha Pandit, Aditya, all of you are correct. Aditya, specified goods तो होंगे, but है नहीं ना. आपने ठीक बोला कि मैम ये specified goods है क्योंकि मैंने आपको specifically बोला red shawl. But अगर वो red shawl existing होती, then it would have been a specific good, but है ही नहीं ना. मेरे पास existing ही नहीं है तो फिर future goods है. मैंने कहा बाद में आकर ले जाना. Agreement to sell हो गया and for future goods. A contract for future goods is always an agreement to sell. It is never actual sale because person cannot transfer what is not in existence. है ही नहीं है तो अभी ट्रांसफर कैसे करूंगा भाई, आएगी 10 दिन बाद शॉप तो आप ले जा. Second example, 1000 quintals of potatoes to be grown on A's field is not illegal, though the actual sale of future goods is not possible. अब वो कह रहे हैं ऐसे कैसे आप कह सकते हो कि 1000 quintals of potato grow होंगे. हमने एक सेल कर लिया, we have done an agreement to sell for the future goods, but then whether it is 1000, there is a contingency attached to it. Whether the weather conditions will be good, you'll be watering the plants crops will not fail, rains will be there, everything will happen. Then if it is 1000 of quintals potatoes are grown, we will sell it to you. Second example also has a contingency attached. It says P agrees to sell Q all the milk that his cow may yield during the coming week. So now this is specific case of future goods because whatever milk he is going to produce, it will be sold to Mr. Q. यहाँ पे उन्होंने numbering की कोई बात नहीं करी. But yes, again the uncertainty is if the cow falls sick, it's not yielding milk, then it is a contingent good. T agrees to sell S all the oranges which will be produced in his garden. It is a future goods because it is amounting an agreement to sell. So examiner can ask you certain questions where you're not like जैसे ये red shawl वाला मैंने create करा था तो इस तरह से question आ सकते हैं. If the goods are not in existence today, you cannot sell them. You always make it an agreement to sell, and for agreement to sell, it is always a future good or contingent good. Agreement to sell can be either for future goods or for the contingent goods. Future goods clear हो गया सबको? Let's go to the contingent goods. Now, contingent, basically it's the word absolute. Absolute का मतलब क्या होता है? जो हमने क्लास शिफ्ट शुरू हुई थी 2 बजे तक हमने absolute बात करी थी कि yes मैम हम CA करेंगे ही करेंगे, we will do it, we are very sure about it. मुझे आज चॉकलेट खानी है तो मुझे खानी ही खानी है, I'm very sure about it. But what is the meaning of contingent? जो चॉकलेट मैंने खानी है या मैंने सेलर से परचेज करनी है, if it is coming from London port and it is in a ship which is sailing and it will be getting my chocolates and I will purchase them. Can you give any guarantee of a plane which is flying in the sky or a ship which is sailing in the sea? Will it reach the port safely? Law says here uncertainty is involved. Contingency is involved. The transaction is dependent upon something to yet to happen. So if the ship reaches safely, you can take out your chocolates and you can enjoy them and make the payment to the seller. But if the ship gets sink, डूब ही गया जहाज जिसमें आपकी चॉकलेट्स आ रही हैं, फिर क्या करोगे आप? फिर तो अनसर्टेनिटी है ना, फिर goods will not be available with you. So such category of goods where uncertainty is attached, where there is a contingency, it is not sure whether the goods will reach to you or not, that category of goods is known as contingent goods. So contingent goods के case में भी it will always be an agreement to sell. Why? Because passing of property question to the buyer is concerned. It says, how can you pass the ownership to the buyer if you do not have the goods with yourself? So passing of property is another very, very important terminology. अभी के लिए इसको property का meaning लिख लो. Property means ownership. इसकी बड़ी डिटेल डेफिनेशन होती है प्रॉपर्टी की. अभी के लिए सिर्फ आपने ये लिख लेना है. Property means ownership. So you cannot pass the ownership of the goods until you have yourself become the owner. You have not received it. So contingent goods are always an agreement to sell. The goods will come at a future date, and when you get the goods, then only you can make the contract of sale. Okay, let's read the examples. It says A agrees to sell to be a Picasso painting provided he is able to purchase it from the present owner. This is the contract for the sale of contingent goods. Why, children? Because here he is typically talking about the Picasso painting. He has yet not purchased it. So I had to sell you this Picasso painting and you will pay me money. So can we say it is a sale of existing good? पहले तो number one. No, ma'am, it is not existing goods because seller के पास खुद के पास ही नहीं है. He is able to purchase it means अगर वो खरीद पाएगा. हिंदी में इसका मतलब क्या है कि ए ने कहा बी को कि मैं तुम्हें पिकासो पेंटिंग बेचूंगा, प्रोवाइडेड मींस अगर मैं ये प्रेजेंट ओनर से खरीद पाया। जहां पे आपके आंसर्स येस नो में आ जाते हैं ना, थिंग्स आर नॉट श्योर, opposite of absolute, something which is not sure, their contingency is attached, it becomes contingent good. If you have studied maths about probability, in maths you must have studied probability, अगर किसी ने पढ़ा हुआ 11th 12th में maths, तो आपका उसमें probability आता था ना, होने या ना होने की probability क्या, yes or no. So contingency is also like that, whether it will happen or not happen, something which is dependent upon your future conditions. So this is a typical case of contingent goods where the Picasso painting had to be sold. He has still not got it. When he'll get it, he will sell it for you. Another example is P contract to sell 50 pieces of particular article provided the ship which is bringing reaches the port safely. अब मैंने आपको पहले ही बता दिया, आपकी चॉकलेट शिप में थी, अब यहाँ पे 50 पीसेस शिप में है, तो अगर शिप सेल कर रही है, शिप सेफली पहुंचेगी पोर्ट पे, तभी तो आप गुड्स बेच पाओगे. तो ये जो केसेस होते हैं ना शिप वाले, प्लेन वाले, इसमें जब भी गुड्स है तो इट इज ऑलवेज एन एग्रीमेंट फॉर द सेल ऑफ कंटिंजेंट गुड्स. ऑलराइट, सो I hope future goods and contingent goods are now absolutely clear to all of you. When you make your notes today, you should make a flow chart saying that for the contract of sale, we always have existing goods. Existing goods are further divided into 3 categories: specific, certain, and uncertain goods. Point number 2, agreement to sell is always for future goods and contingent goods. Future goods are the goods which are yet to be produced or manufactured by the manufacturer. Contingent goods are where uncertainty is attached. So there is a thin line of difference between future and contingent goods. Future goods वो है जिसके बारे में मैंने आपको बोला कि 10 दिन बाद I will get it, you can come and purchase it. But contingent goods are those in which I am also dependent whether I will get it or not. So the goods are already in the ship, whether the ship will reach or not, I am also not sure. So where any uncertainty, जहाँ पे doubt है, जहाँ पे yes no का क्वेश्चन बन रहा है कि गुड्स आएंगे या नहीं आएंगे, अगर आ गए तो आई विल सेल इट, अगर नहीं आए तो आई विल नॉट बी एबल टू सेल इट. ऑलराइट, लेट्स मूव अहेड विद अनदर काइंड ऑफ डेफिनेशन व्हिच इज डिलीवरी. नाउ व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ डिलीवरी ऑफ गुड्स? Here comes a very interesting thing. It says delivery means voluntary transfer of possession from one person to another. इसमें voluntary का मतलब क्या है? Voluntary means out of your own choice. You are not being forced. Let me take a small test of yours. Do you remember under Indian Contract Act, what is the meaning of free consent? So delivery means voluntary transfer. Your consent is free. You're ready to transfer the goods. But before that, tell me what is the meaning of free consent? Let me see how many of you remember. If you have studied, what is free consent? The consent which is free from dash, 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 dash. Then only we will proceed further with delivery. Then only I'll be able to give example for this definition. Contingent goods are which type of goods? They are contingent only. They are another. This is another category of goods. Abhishek is saying voice is lagging. I hope others' voice is clear. Please confirm. Yes, Ritu Tiwari, that's correct. There is no guarantee in case of contingent goods because we always have a doubt. आयुषी जैन, हिंदी में कंटिंजेंट गुड का मतलब होता है कि आपके पास आएंगे या नहीं आएंगे, आपको खुद को भी श्योरिटी नहीं है, इसमें एक अनसर्टेनिटी, एक डाउट इन्वॉल्व होता है. मे हैपन और मे नॉट हैपन. वेरी गुड. अक्षय कुमार, क्या नहीं समझ आया कंटिंजेंट गुड्स में? यू कैन आस्क दैट. Difference between Purva Joshi is asking difference between future goods and contingent goods. Future goods are those which are to be sold at a later date. I will be growing the potatoes, then I will be selling it to you. But contingent goods are the potatoes are already in the ship. Whether the ship will come or not, I'm not sure. So that is why there is an uncertainty, there is a doubt. They are known as contingent goods. Yes, absolutely correct. Free consent answer is clearly given. Children, my voice is clear because I just explained a very long answer for one of the child. I don't know whether you have heard it or not. My voice is clear. Somebody's saying it's absolutely clear. Somebody's saying it's lagging. I hope it's clear now. Okay. Thank you, Ritu Kumari. I'm glad you have understood clearly now. Well done. Free consent, a consent which is not free and it is caused by coercion, misrepresentation, undue influence, fraud, and mistake. That is absolutely correct. So here I'm trying to tell you that your delivery means voluntary transfer, means there should be a free consent involved. You are doing it voluntarily. You're not doing it forcefully. Children, I hope the voice is clear. Venkat Lakshmi, thank you for clearing the doubt that the voice is absolutely clear. I hope others also, the voice is clear now, right? All right. So voluntary transfer of possession means the consent should be free. It should not be that at a gunshot you are transferring the goods. ये मतलब होता है इसका वॉलंटरी ट्रांसफर मींस कि आप अपनी मर्जी से फ्री कंसेंट के साथ आपने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करके आप गुड्स वन पर्सन से ट्रांसफर कर रहे हो टू अनदर पर्सन. All right. So as a general rule, delivery may be something having the effect of putting the goods in the possession of the buyer. Now, another very important word, possession. आपने property का meaning लिखा था ऊपर ownership, possession का meaning लिख लीजिए having the custody of the goods. To have the custody of the goods. To putting the goods in the possession of the buyer means to have the custody of the goods, to have the goods in your possession. So delivery means to do something to give the goods to the buyer. You purchased this pen from me and I've picked up this pen and I've given it to you. I have done the delivery. So it says delivery means something which has been done, which proves that the goods have been given to the buyer. All right, let's see what category of delivery of goods it is given. Voluntary transfer of possession from one person to another is absolutely clear, and there are three types of delivery of goods. अब ये ध्यान देकर सुनने वाली बात है, इसको छोड़ दो और इधर आ जाओ वापस. Okay, thank you for clearing that the voice is clear now. Thank you so much. Okay, so actual delivery, constructive delivery, and symbolic delivery. There are three different categories of delivery of goods. What is the meaning of actual delivery of goods? So when the goods are physically delivered to the buyer, it means physical possession of goods has been given to the buyer or any third person on his behalf. This is the most common method of delivery of goods. Let's write an example over here. A purchased a Santro car from the showroom. The car was to be delivered after 3 days. Now the car dealer, the person who is dealing in the car, he has sent his one of the persons working over there to deliver the car to Mr. A. A went to the car dealer to purchase Santro car and the delivery was to be made in 3 days. Now the car dealer has sent his person from the shop and he has bought the Santro car. He has driven it to his Mr. A's home. He gave the car to him and gave the car keys to him. What kind of delivery is this? This is the actual delivery of goods. Another interesting example which you people have been doing nowadays, online purchases. अभी लॉकडाउन था 2 साल में, अभी काफी घर पे बैठे थे सब लोग, तो everything, all the rations and chocolates were coming online. So you were doing your bookings on Amazon, Big Basket. What happens? The guy comes and he delivers the goods to you. What kind of delivery is happening? It is actual delivery. All the girls out there purchasing their dresses, earrings, lipsticks every day. And the boys are also not less, purchasing their shoes, goggles, and other kind of material. Online purchases are happening. So वो बंदा आता है, आपको goods देता है, अब पेमेंट भी हो चुकी होती है पहले. तो ये जो delivery हो रही है, this is known as actual delivery. At your doorstep, the delivery of goods is happening. This is the most common method where the physical possession of goods is given from one person to another. समझ आ गया? एक्चुअल डिलीवरी तो किसी को नहीं भूलेगा, Amazon एंड बिग बास्केट से तो बिल्कुल नहीं भूलने वाला. सेकेंड हम करेंगे पहले सिंबॉलिक डिलीवरी. Symbolic delivery means delivery of a thing in token of transfer of something else. अब वो कार डीलर ने क्या बोला, गाड़ी नहीं लेकर आया, गाड़ी की चाबी पकड़ा दी ओनर को. उसने बोला जी ये कीज हैं, ये पकड़ लीजिए और वो खड़ी है आपकी सेंट्रो, आप लेके जा सकते हैं. तो एक तो हो गया गाड़ी चलाकर घर आगे दे दे, वो तो एक्चुअल डिलीवरी होगी. वो कहते कार कीज दे दी ना, समथिंग हैज बीन डन व्हिच सिंबलाइजेस दैट डिलीवरी ऑफ गुड्स आर हैपनिंग. So I've given you the car keys. Now you just go out and take the car home. So it is known as symbolic delivery. Handing over the documents of title to the goods. What is the meaning of document of title to the goods? पूरी हिस्ट्री पढ़ेंगे इसके बारे में अभी. अभी के लिए समझ लो ऐसा डॉक्यूमेंट जो ओनरशिप दिखाता है. टाइटल मीन्स ओनरशिप, like bill of lading, railway receipt, delivery orders, keys of the warehouse containing the goods handed over to the buyer. ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, MCQs में भी आएगा अभी. It says where the actual delivery is not possible, you are doing something to give the possession of the goods. So you told Mr. A that look, there is a warehouse in Delhi where your Centro car is lying. Take the keys and you just go and collect your car from there. So we have done all the paperwork, every payment is made, sale. बट डिलीवरी जो उसने गुड्स की करी है वो एक सिंबॉलिक डिलीवरी कर दी. उसने वेयर हाउस बता दिया, उस वेयर हाउस की कीज दे दी उसको कि वहां पे आपके गुड्स पड़े हैं, वहां जाकर आप ले लीजिए. सो दिस इज नोन एज वी आर हैंडिंग द कीज ऑफ द वेयर हाउस और कीज ऑफ द कार. सच काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स इज डन. गिविंग अ बिल ऑफ गोल्ड, you have purchased the gold and bill has been given to you, that means delivery has been made. Or where the goods are being transported from one place to another place, you're giving a bill of lading when the goods are coming by ship. Or if the goods are coming by railways, you're giving a railway receipt. All these kind of documents are known as doing a symbolic delivery. Now, what is constructive delivery? It says it is effected without any change in the custody or actual possession of the things, merely done by acknowledgement, या फिर दूसरा word है atonement. Here the warehouse man is holding the goods of A, agrees to hold them on behalf of B at A's request. ये बहुत मजेदार है. एक्चुअल डिलीवरी समझ आ गया, आपने घर में गाड़ी डिलीवर करा दी. All those who wanted me to talk in Hindi, I hope now you're understanding. समझ आ रहा है सबको, है ना. सिंबॉलिक डिलीवरी, आपने गाड़ी डिलीवर नहीं कराई, आपने कीज दे दी. ये भी मान लिया मैम कीज दे दी, गाड़ी की दे दी या फिर वेयर हाउस की. अभी कंस्ट्रक्टिव डिलीवरी क्या है? अब और मजेदार स्टोरी है. I told you that my warehouse man, he's sitting over there, the guard. I told him that, you know, this XYZ person whom I've sold the car, he will come and he will take the car from you. And you acknowledged, that warehouse guy acknowledged, okay, fine, I will give the car to the person whenever he comes in. So here you have constructed a kind of contract for the delivery of goods. Some construction has been done. Here it says, warehouse is holding the goods of A. So I am A, I'm the seller, and I agree to hold it at for B. पहले ये लिख लो, B is a buyer here, तभी आपको समझ आएगा. एंड ए कौन है? ए यहाँ पर सेलर है. तो गाड़ी किसकी है? सेलर की है. वेयर हाउस मैन सेलर की गाड़ी लेकर होल्ड करके खड़ा है. उसने कहा आई विल होल्ड इट ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ बी एट एज रिक्वेस्ट. ए ने कहा है उसे ऐसा करने के लिए. सो सेलर कॉल्ड अप हिज वेयर हाउस गाय, लुक आई हैव सोल्ड दिस रेड कलर सेंट्रो टू मिस्टर बी, ही विल कम एंड टेक द कार फ्रॉम यू. ए सेड ओके फाइन, यस. एक्नॉलेज करना, हाँ बोलना. एक्नॉलेज मीन्स जिसके लिए हम किसी के लिए चीज के लिए हामी भर रहे हैं, हाँ बोल रहे हैं, एक्नॉलेज कर दिया हमने. तो वेयर हाउस मैम ने एक्नॉलेज कर दिया, हाँ जी आई एम होल्डिंग द कार, योर कार ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ बी, व्हेनेवर बी विल कम आई विल गिव हिम द कार. सो हियर कंस्ट्रक्टिव डिलीवरी takes place when a person in possession of the goods belonging to the seller acknowledges to the buyer that he hold the goods on buyer's behalf. So this warehouse man will call up B, listen, your goods are with me, you can come and take them from me wherever you want. So this kind of delivery is known as constructive delivery. ठीक है, पहली बारी में थोड़ा लगता है ऐसे घूम फिर कर टफ सा, बट अगेन कहानियां याद रखनी है. कहानी कैसे याद रखेंगे? The Centro car came to my doorstep, it's actual delivery. Keys were given to me, it's symbolic delivery. Keys of the warehouse was given to me, that is also symbolic delivery. ये पढ़ा ना हमने अभी, key of the warehouse. Bill of lading, railway receipt दे दिया, that is also symbolic delivery. But that warehouse guy is calling me and telling me, look, I am holding the car on your behalf. Please come and collect it from me. That is known as constructive delivery. घबराना नहीं है, पढ़कर आना है. नेक्स्ट क्लास में एमसीक्यूज में पूछूंगी तो रिवाइज होकर फाइनल हो जाए. ओके, आगे देख लेते हैं. Goods are said to be in a deliverable state when they are put in such a condition that the buyer is bound to take delivery of them. A contract to sell timber. Timber क्या होता है? लकड़ियां काट के रख दी आपने और उसका बंडल बना दिया. A contracts to sell timber. तो एक बंदा था, buyer आया A के पास. A is the seller. He said, I want certain kind of timber. Timber is a wood. So he has broken the wood, he has done the timber collected, and he made the bundles. Now he says the goods will be in a deliverable state after A has put the goods in such a condition. अरे भाई लकड़ियां ऐसी पड़ी थी, पेड़ खड़े हुए थे, मैंने तो आपने कहा तभी पेड़ काटा ना. आप बायर ने मुझे बोला कि I want the timber, so he cut the wood, he made the bundles. Now he has made the goods ready to be delivered. So law says section 2 subsection 3 is just trying to tell you that goods will be in a deliverable state only when the buyer is bound to take delivery. Until he has not made the bundles, he has not cut the wood, the goods are still lying like that. Buyer is not bound to take the delivery. Buyer can only take the delivery of goods once they have been packed, identified, polishing, finishing, everything has been done. Now he is bound to, and seller has informed him कि आपके goods ready हैं, आप आकर ले जाइए, तो फिर he can come and take the goods. Okay, everybody is clear about these kind of things. We have 15 minutes, around 13 minutes. Let's do document of title to goods as well. Thank you, Miss Ayushi Bothra, for clearing that point. All right. Okay, let's have a small introduction of document of title to goods. I will give it to you. So title to goods means, first of all, the word title means ownership of the goods. So law says any person who is holding this bill can go and represent it to another person, and the another person is bound to give the goods to him. Okay, let's talk about a very interesting story over here. So Mr. A, who is sitting in Delhi, has contracted to sell the goods to Mr. B, who is sitting in Bombay. कहीं भी ले लो, बॉम्बे ले लो, बैंगलोर ले लो, मद्रास ले लो. Thank you, those who are saying we have understood it well. That's great. Good. Yes, doorstep delivery is the actual delivery. That is absolutely fine. Let me just quickly complete it, children. Then we'll go back to the query sessions. Okay, so A in Delhi has decided to deliver the goods to B in Bombay. Now, there is a big way of delivering the goods. We need to transport the goods either by air, ship to chalegi nahi na, Delhi mein to koi port nahi hai na, there is no sea. So either by air or by lorries, trucks or by railway. So let us decide that Mr. A loaded the goods in train and he said that I am sending, or he has loaded the goods in a truck and he has issued a lorry receipt. अगर उसने रेलवे में करे तो रेलवे रिसीट करेगा, ट्रक में लोड करे तो लॉरी रिसीट करेगा. तो A sends the original copy of this lorry receipt to Mr. B as well. One lorry receipt copy he will give it to the transporter. He will issue 4 copies of this lorry receipt. One original one he will send it to Mr. B. One Mr. A is keeping. One he is giving it to the transporter for carrying the goods, and another one will be with the truck driver so that he can check it when the original one is produced by Mr. B. So now this truck driver is supposed to take the goods to Mr. B in Bombay. Now, how will this truck driver come to know that Mr. B is the correct person to whom I have to give the goods? Now, Mr. B will go to the transport agency where this truck has loaded the goods he will go and he will present this lorry receipt. He will show that this is Mr. A in Delhi, seller's name is written, I am the buyer, Mr. B, so I own these goods. So on the basis of this lorry receipt, this truck driver is bound to give the goods. He will compare it with his receipt that he's holding and he will give the goods to Mr. B. This lorry receipt is known as document of title to the goods. अब अगर same story में instead of truck I have sent the goods in railway, so what receipt I would have used? I would have used railway receipt. If I'm sending the goods from Visakhapatnam port to London port, if I'm sailing it through ship, then I'll be using the receipt that is bill of lading. If I'm transporting it through truck, I am using the receipt, lorry receipt. All these kind of documents are known as document of title to goods, which mean these documents gives you the right of ownership of the goods. आपने देखा ना अभी when Mr. B went and showed it, he said, okay, fine, I accept you are the owner, and he gave the goods to him. So all these receipts are known as document of title to goods, are known as the document which gives a proof that yes, you are the correct owner of the goods. So if A has loaded the goods in train, he will give one railway receipt to the railway authorities, another original copy will be given to Mr. B, one will be given to the accounts department, and fourth will be retained by Mr. A itself. So when railway authorities will reach, they will also, Mr. B will go and produce the railway receipt, he will collect the goods. Now the problem occurs when we hear so many words, ma'am, okay, railway receipt is clear, lorry receipt is clear, but what is the meaning of all these terminology, dock warrant, war finger certificate? तो ये सारे जो उसने यूज करे ना, bill of lading, dock warrant, warehouse keeper certificate, war finger certificate, these are all the documents which are used in the transportation of goods via sea. लिख के रख लो. These documents are used for this bill of lading, dock warrant, warehouse keeper, and war finger certificate. These are used for transporting the goods by ship. So what happens? Warehouse keeper certificate, before loading the goods in the ship, they are kept in a warehouse. So warehouse guy will issue a certificate. He will give the ownership that, okay, fine, your goods are here. So when the ship lands, it comes, and then there are different docks where the ship, where the goods have to be kept, and docks के अंदर फिर wharfs बने होते हैं, वहाँ पे war finger certificate issue होता है. And when the captain of the ship comes, he checks all the goods are well in place. He will finally issue the bill of lading receipt. Business studies में पढ़ा होगा आपने class 11th 12th में. All these kind of terminologies are part of your transportation of goods जहाँ पे आप पढ़ते हो. ठीक है? So you don't have to learn their meaning, but yes, you should have a knowledge and awareness. Why? Because there is a point of difference also coming after this paragraph. Clear हो गया? So captain of the ship will come, he will issue a bill of lading, and the person at the other end will show the bill of lading, and the goods will be given to him. Similarly, रेलवे रिसीट होता है. मल्टीमोडल ट्रांसपोर्ट का मतलब होता है मैंने रोड से भी भेजा, ट्रेन से भी भेजा, बाय एयर भी आ रहे हैं, तो डिफरेंट मोड्स ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्ट यूज हो रहे हैं. For delivering the goods which are used in the ordinary course of business as a proof of the possession or control of the goods. So simple language mein, this document is the proof for showing the ownership of the goods. You can write it down in your own language. Document of title to goods are the proof of the ownership of the goods. एक इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट यहाँ पे और कर लेते हैं. ईदर बाय एंडोर्समेंट और बाय डिलीवरी. व्हाट डिड आई से? ईदर बाय एंडोर्समेंट और बाय डिलीवरी. सो व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ एंडोर्समेंट? So let's go back to the same example. I hope you have drawn that example of A in Delhi and B in Bombay. So again, this Mr. A in Delhi, he has loaded the goods in train, and the railway authorities are, अब ध्यान से सुनना, interesting है. Railway authorities will deliver the goods to Mr. B. How will he deliver? If he will show him the railway receipt. Railway receipt is the proof of the ownership of goods, that which means that Mr. B is now the owner. You should give him the goods. So इसको railway receipt दिखाएगा तो Mr. B को goods मिल जाएंगे railway authority से. यही पढ़ा हमने अभी. अब समझते हैं एंडोर्समेंट का मीनिंग क्या होता है। मिस्टर बी जो एक बायर है, वो भी अपनी दुकान चला रहे हैं। मिस्टर ए दिल्ली से गुड्स आएंगे बी की बॉम्बे में शॉप में, एंड बी विल बी सेलिंग इट फॉर द, so there is a customer, Mr. C, who comes to Mr. B's shop and he says that I am in urgent need of the goods. Mr. B told him, don't worry, the 100 bags of cotton, 100 bags of sugar that you want, they are coming, they are still with the railway authorities. Mr. A has sent them from Delhi, and after a week's time, I will receive it, then I will give it to you. Mr. C says, nahi, 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 aap mujhe abhi de dijiye. I really need the goods right now. He says, I don't have the goods right now. I have a railway receipt. See, this is the railway receipt. This shows the proof that I am the owner of those goods. When the goods will reach, the train will come and I will collect it. So now, since C is in a hurry, what did B does? B endorses this railway receipt in the name of Mr. C. उसको कहते हैं तू ये railway receipt ले ले, and जब goods आएंगे, you go and represent this railway receipt in front of the railway authorities, and they will hand over the goods to you. So Mr. B, without even actually getting the goods, he has made a further sale of goods to Mr. C on the basis of document of title to the goods. कह रहे फिजिकल डिलीवरी की भी हमने वेट नहीं करी. इट इज सच एन इम्पॉर्टेंट एंड बिग डॉक्यूमेंट. दिस डॉक्यूमेंट शोज यू द ओनरशिप ऑफ गुड्स. I have a railway receipt in hand. Mr. C came to my shop. I told him, Mr. A has already sent the goods. I will go to the railway authorities and get the goods. I'm showing this railway receipt. But before the goods have come, I have sold this. I have given this railway receipt to Mr. C and did all the sale transaction. He made me the payment. Now Mr. C has become the owner. He will go to the railway authorities, present this railway receipt, and he will collect the goods on my behalf. This is known as endorsement. आगे endorse कर देना. So it says this document can either be delivered. By delivery means the first case in which A is sending and B will show it and get the delivery. And ये Mr. C वाला case आप सब याद रखेंगे. When B has sold the goods to Mr. C, that is meaning of endorsement. All right. इससे ज़्यादा नहीं करते हैं, फिर याद नहीं होगा आप सबको. So I hope you have understood till here whatever we have discussed, and you have to revise. Your homework is to revise whatever we have discussed. And now is your time for queries. I'm here for another 2-3 minutes. You can ask me. Thank you, Mr. Tarun Sinha. He says that he's liking the class. He has written a very beautiful note. Thank you so much. What is war finger? मुझे पता था ये पूछोगे. तो वॉर फिंगर, वेयर हाउस सर्टिफिकेट, डॉक वारंट, ये सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स जो हैं तन्मीत कौर, दीज आर द डॉक्यूमेंट्स व्हिच आर यूज्ड इन ट्रांसपोर्टिंग द गुड्स बाय शिप. सो व्हेन यू आर लोडिंग द गुड्स इन शिप, वो स्टेप बाय स्टेप लोडिंग होती है. पहले वॉर फिंगर, पहले आप वेयर हाउस में रखते हो तो वेयर हाउस कीपर का सर्टिफिकेट आता है. वॉर फिंगर होता है, छोटे छोटे वॉर्फ्स बने होते हैं, खाने बने होते हैं शिप में. डॉक में भरने से पहले आप गुड्स उसमें प्लेस करते हो. तो सारा इंटरनल प्रोसीजर है, हमें बहुत ज्यादा डिटेल में नहीं जाना. शिप की जब बिलिंग होती है उन सब में ये डॉक्यूमेंट्स यूज होते हैं. All right, thank you, Kashish. I'm glad all the terms became easy for you. Endorsement मतलब किसी के behalf पे goods. Yes, Miss Lucky, that we have endorsed it further means we have given it further to someone else. You can use it like that. Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you, Nidhi. Good, Venkat Lakshmi. Ayushi Jan, I'm glad. Thank you. Thank you. Asha Sood. Thank you, Mr. Pramod K. Somebody was asking something. It's just like a bearer check. Mr. Abhishek, there is minute difference between that. So there is a small part of document of title to goods which has a document showing title. So when I complete that as well, then we can talk about this. Okay, thank you, Ayushi. It's crystal clear. I'm glad. Yes, document of title to goods is interesting, Manmohan. It sounds tough, but it is very interesting. Okay, ma'am, will you cover questions also? Yes, Aditi, we'll be covering, you'll be asked to read the MCQs. I also have the MCQs for you in the presentation itself, and we'll also try to cover a few of the descriptive questions from the study. All right, thank you, Ishwarya. Thank you so much. Document showing title, Mr. Gaurav, we are yet to do that. In the next lecture, we'll understand the difference between document showing title. That is important point. No doubts. Okay, Miss Arpi Shah, that's great. Yes, we will be having summaries also, Mr. Bharat Chaudhary. I can hardly see any query now, only the thank you messages. So thank you so much. Endorsement, Miss Apurva, I just explained that example. So second example tha jahan B ne good C ko diye, that is the case of endorsement. All right. And Priya Darshni is asking, what is constructive delivery? Please explain once more. So Priya Darshni, if I have given the car to you, I have made the actual delivery. I gave you the car keys. I have given you the symbolic delivery. Now what happened? I told you, look, Priya Darshni, I have sold you the car, but that car is with my warehouse keeper. He will call you and he will tell you that whenever he is available, you go and take the car from him. So this kind of delivery is constructive delivery, where my warehouse guy will call you that, ma'am, your car is with me, please come and take it. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Umar Ansari. Thank you, children. No, it's different, Mr. Muhammad Khan. Endorsement. Enforcement means where you can enforce the law, where you're filing a case. So endorsement is the example that we have just done. All right. I hope everything is now clear. See you all on Monday. Thank you so much, students, and do revise your work. And Monday we'll be proceeding and completing this first chapter of Sale of Goods Act. All right. Thank you so much. Goodbye, all of you. Have a nice weekend.